Hi guys, a very good evening to everyone present in this session. I am Anish Gupta, the founder of National Law Training Institute and currently a fourth year student at the National Law School Bangalore. So as the title is very self-explanatory, in this session we will be going over the detailed cutoff analysis for NLSAT 2025. Initially, we had decided that we will not come up with this video, but then there were a lot of requests. Some of you wanted to consider alternate career opportunities, some of you wanted to know whether you should prepare for other exams, and some of you said you need to serve your notice periods to employers. So, analysis of a detailed cutoff or a predicted cutoff for NLSAT 2025 would be helpful to you. So, owing to these demands, we are here today and we'll be going over uh, very crisp, concise, comprehensive data that we have collected, and based on the data that we have collected, we have come up with our own predictions of what the cutoffs can be. So we are not just giving you a general bird's eye view of the cutoff, but we'll be going into detail, covering each and every category and what the differential marks for each of the category would be as cutoff. So first things first, there are a few important things to note before we delve into what the cutoff will be. So one thing to note is that even though this I spoke about in my analysis session also immediately after the exam, that part A passages and questions were slightly easier than NLSAT 2024. This is the feedback that I got from a lot of students, that they had appeared for both NLSAT 2025 and now they have appeared for NLSAT 2020. They appeared for NLSAT 24 and then now they have appeared for NLSAT 25. And but they have told me that even though their preparation was slightly better this year, they did find the paper comparatively easier, and the passages were, even though they were a little lengthy, they were on the easier side. The language was comprehensible and the questions were not that difficult. So first things first, the passages and the questions in part A were slightly easier than NLSAT 2024. This is an important consideration because we definitely rely on past year trends while coming up with predictions for this year. Now, another important thing to note is that there were around 28 questions this year in Part A just from general knowledge and current affairs. This becomes important because I know a lot of students who definitely did not do as good in GK and current affairs as they did in English and critical reasoning. So this is an important aspect to note, that even though we can expect students to perform better in part A because the passages and questions were slightly easier, there is GK still there which will bring down your score in part A, because the GK firstly was high in number of questions, and then there were a few questions that I believe nobody could have predicted that they can come. And then the third thing to note is that I know a lot of students who made blunders while filling the OMR sheet. They were definitely scoring very high above the cutoff that we are predicting, but because they committed silly errors while filling the OMR sheet, their marks have been reduced significantly. So this is an important thing to note again this time, that a lot of students made errors while while filling the OMR sheet. And one more thing to note is that part B was slightly easier this year than last year. Two reasons for this: firstly, because students were prepared this year, and secondly, they had given a lot of mocks, especially NLTI mocks, which very closely resembled what part B came this year. So the students' preparation level was also easier, and the questions that came were also slightly easier. So this might mean that the marking is a bit strict this year than last year. So these are the four important things that I would want you to keep in mind before I take you to the cutoffs. Uh, Coming to the seat distribution, for all those who are new to this video and are still figuring out whether you should appear for NLSAT next year or whether this exam gives you hopes, you need to note that there are only 120 seats in this exam. Out of that also, there are only 49 seats. There are only 49 seats for the general category. Around 70 seats are reserved for people belonging to various categories. 32 are reserved for OBC, 18 for SC, 9 for ST, and there are 12 seats reserved for the EWS category. This will play an important role in the cutoff distribution also, that we will be presenting in the next slide. So comes the moment that all of you are waiting for. Let me take you to the predicted cutoffs for NLSAT 2025. So in this slide, we are discussing only the part A qualification cutoffs. I am not saying that this is the score that is sufficient to get a rank or sufficient to get admission into the National Law School Bangalore. In this slide, we are merely discussing that if you are scoring this rank, if you are scoring these many marks, your part B should be checked. That is, your part A score is enough for your qualification to the second round, that is part B evaluation. So as you can read the second line, the part B evaluation happens in the ratio of 1 ratio 500, 1 ratio 5. So if 120 seats are there, that means around 600 candidates will qualify for part B evaluation. Now, addressing the elephant in the room. So, firstly, we'll talk about the outside Karnataka general male. These people are not from Karnataka. These people do not have any other vertical reservation, and they also don't have the horizontal reservation of women. So these, I believe, can be the most disadvantaged people here in this exam. People who are from outside Karnataka, general male. So this is the category which will have the highest cutoff for part A to qualify for the part B. So what we are predicting based on past year trends and based on the data that we have received from the survey is that if you are scoring around 51, yes, you heard that right. If you are scoring around 51, you should definitely qualify for your part B evaluation. Scoring around 51 would mean that you are in the top 245 among general male candidates who are appearing for this exam. And so, as we already talked about, there are around 49 seats for general, 49 into 5, around 245. So, if you are scoring around 51 and you belong to this category called outside Karnataka general male, there is a very high chance that you will still qualify for your part B evaluation. Then comes the second category, people who are from outside Karnataka and belong to the general category but are female. So for this category, we are predicting a cutoff around 50. So one important thing to note is that historically and even this year, number of candidates who appear is a bit skewed. So more females appear for this exam than male. So that is why there is not a lot of difference between the two categories of outside general male, outside Karnataka general male and outside Karnataka general female. There is only a difference of 1 mark that we are predicting in the cutoff. This is because there a lot of women appear. So the cutoff does not decrease that much because there is a concentration of people in this range of 50 to 52. That is why the cutoff will not drastically reduce if you are a person belonging to outside Karnataka general female. And scoring around 50 would mean that you are among the top 300 in the general female candidate list. Now coming to people who have the Karnataka domicile. Important things to note here is that there is around 25% domicile reservation and around 30% women reservation. These are the horizontal reservations. That is why if you see, these are not reflected in here, because here I am talking primarily about the vertical reservation, that out of 120 seats, these seats are vertically reserved. Now important thing to note is that out of the 49 general seats or out of the 32 OBC seats, there is 30% reservation for women and 25% horizontal reservation for Karnataka domicile. So even out of the 49 general seats, there is still reservation for the Karnataka domicile and for women. So now people who have the Karnataka domicile and belong to the general category and are male, we are predicting that the cutoff for you should be around 49.5, and this would mean that you are amongst the top 75 amongst the Karnataka general male candidates. So if you are scoring around 49.5 and are from Karnataka general male, you should get your part B evaluated. Coming to the next category of Karnataka general female, if you are from Karnataka, that means you have a Karnataka domicile. If you belong to the general category and are female, you will need to score around 48.5 to get your part B evaluated, and that would mean that you are amongst the top 90 in the Karnataka general female candidates list. Till here, I hope everything is clear and you are following what I am trying to say. Till now, we have covered 4 categories: outside Karnataka general male, outside Karnataka general female, Karnataka general male, Karnataka general female, and now we'll come to EWS. Let me take you back to the seat distribution. So for out of the 120 seats, 12 seats are vertically reserved for the EWS category. So that would mean the cutoff will be slightly lesser than the general category because 12 seats are vertically reserved. And what we are predicting based on past year trends, especially, we have checked scorecards of a lot of NLTS students who qualified last year. And based on those analysis, we are predicting that if you are scoring around 48 and belong to the EWS category, your part B should be evaluated. A score of 48 would correlate to around a rank of 60 in your category, that is EWS. One thing to note is that even though we did the male and female distinction for the outside Karnataka and Karnataka general category, we will not be delving into the horizontal reservations for these four categories, that is EWS, OBC, SC, and ST, simply because we do not have sufficient data for that. So, just to tell you something, like if we are saying 48 for EWS, that would mean 48 for EWS EWS male. If you are a female belonging to the EWS category, you might expect a cutoff around 46.5 or 47. Now, if you are from the OBC non-creamy layer category, if you see the seat distribution, the maximum number of seats are reserved for the OBC category. Emphasis need to be paid on non-creamy layer. So, if you are a person belonging to the OBC non-creamy layer category, you will see a cutoff of around 46 to get your Part B evaluated. So, a score of 46 in Part A would correlate to around a rank of 160 amongst your category, that is OBC candidates. So, we are expecting that if you are scoring around 46 in your Part A and belong to this category, you can comfortably relax and you can be assured that your Part B will be evaluated. Now we come to the last two categories, SC and ST. So the number of test takers drastically reduce for these categories. So that is why you can see a drastic reduce in cutoff also for these categories, simply because there are not enough test takers. So if you are a person belonging to the scheduled caste scheduled caste category, you can expect the cutoff to be around 42. Again, a few caveats. If you are a woman belonging to the scheduled caste, or if you are a woman plus have a Karnataka domicile plus you have SC reservation, then you can expect a drastic reduction in the cutoff even from 42. These are the circumstances or situations we are not accounting for because we do not have sufficient data. But just to give you an illustration, if you are, let's say, a woman who also happens to have Karnataka domicile and who belongs to the SC category, your cutoff should be around 37, 38. So these are some situations that we cannot account for in this cutoff analysis, simply because we don't have data. Now, if you belong to the ST category, the cutoff reduces even more than the SC, and we can expect a cutoff of around 40. So if you are scoring around 40, you can expect your Part B to be evaluated if you belong to the ST category. A score of 40 would mean that you are amongst the top 45 students in your category. So your category rank is also displayed on the scorecard as and when it comes out. So if you are scoring around 40, you will be amongst the top 45. One more thing to note here is that, again, I will give you a caveat that take these cutoffs with a pinch of salt. Nobody can tell you in stone that 51 is the cutoff or 51 is the exact number that you need to score. We are also humans. We are also basing these predictions on the responses we got from you through the survey, through the Google form, and also based on our past year analysis. We acknowledge that not a lot of you might have filled the correct responses in your Google form. That is why we have relied more on the past year trends. We have relied more on the score sheets that we had from past year to come up with these analysis video. So even though if I am saying around 51 for outside Karnataka general male, you can also expect this cutoff to be less than 51, and you can also expect this cutoff to be more than 51, but the margin of error is only plus or minus 1. So not more than 52 or not more than 50. Now we come to the next slide, that is the final admission cutoffs that we are looking at. So if you are a person belonging to outside Karnataka general male, if you are scoring around 51 in your Part A, you need to have a score of around 40 in your Part B. So that would mean a total score of 91. You can go through the cutoffs that we are predicting yourself, and you can see that we have come up with the total score as well as typical Part A and Part B score. One important thing to note here is that you don't necessarily need to score 40 in your Part B For example, if you are an outside Karnataka general male, and if you are scoring, let's say, 55 or 60 in your part A, you hardly need to score around 30 or 31 in your part B. So this is the typical score that we are providing based on the past year trends. But if you are someone who has scored exceptionally well in part A, for example, you have scored around 60, you only need to score around 30 or 31 to qualify if belonging to the outside Karnataka general male. Similarly, for outside Karnataka general female, we are predicting a cutoff of around 89.5. All of this you can figure out yourself. If you are scoring around 55, then what score you need to get. If you are scoring around 50, then what score you need to get. What we are saying is that at least you need to score 50 to get your part B evaluated, because if you are not scoring at least 50 in your part A, then no matter, even if you have written exceptional answers in your part B, your part B won't be evaluated. So this is the minimum that we are telling you, that this is the minimum score that you need to get your part B evaluated, that is 50 if you are from the outside Karnataka general female. So similarly, for Karnataka general male, people belonging to Karnataka and have domicile and are general male, you need to score around 88.5. And these are the final admission cutoffs I am talking about. I am not talking about the minimum score here, but if you are scoring something along these scores that I am mentioning, then you will get an admission offer from National Law School Bangalore. So these are the final admission cutoffs that I am talking about. That around, if you are scoring around 91 cumulatively, part A and part B, and belong to outside Karnataka general male, you will get an admission offer. So for Karnataka general male, you will have to score around 88.5. If you belong to Karnataka general female, then you need to score around 87.5. And then if you are from the EWS category, you need to get a score of around 86. So again, you can divide 86 proportionately. If you think you have done exceptionally well in part A, if you are scoring, let's say, 51, 55, then you hardly need to score around 31 in your part B. So total score is more important here in this slide. You need to focus more on the total score. So if you are scoring around 86, then you can be sure, or you can be hopeful of a seat in the National Law School Bangalore. Similarly, when we come to OBC non-creamy layer, the cutoff reduces because the maximum reservation is for this categories, that is OBC NCL. So if you are a person who is belonging to this category, a safe score would be around 80. That if you are scoring 80, you should get an admission offer. Again, to reiterate, this is you don't necessarily need to get 34 in your part B. This is just a typical score that I am telling you. It is very well possible that you get 50 in your part A and 30 in part B, you will still qualify. So these are the typical scores I am just providing you to give a range of what the people have been scoring in the past. For example, if you are from OBC NCL and if you score 60 in part A, you only need to get around 20-21 in your part B to qualify this exam. Coming to the SC category, we expect a cutoff of around 72 for this category. Again, this will reduce if you are a woman who also has Karnataka domicile and belongs to the scheduled caste. Then the cutoff can even reduce to around 66, 67. So these are the contingencies that we are not accounting for. But if you are a male belonging to outside Karnataka and has a reservation of SC, then you need to get around 72 to qualify this exam. And same for ST, part A score, typical part A score would be 40, typical part B score should be 28, and the minimum score that we are expecting that you need to get to qualify this year's exam would be around 68. Again, repeating one thing, this is the minimum score that we are not talking about. I am not saying that at a score of 91 you will be All India rank 1. I am simply saying that at a score of 91 you have a very good chance of qualifying this exam this year. So that is it from this session. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope this video was useful to whoever had their doubts regarding cutoff still. If you find this session useful, hit the like button, hit the comment section, and yes, feel free to drop in any of your doubts, any of your issues with respect to cutoffs or with respect to exams in the comment section. We have a very proactive team and we will definitely get back to you with all your queries. All those who are considering enrolling for next year, we have launched the program for our next year's batch. Just to tell you about NLTI, this is the third year that we have trained students for NLSAT, and for the last 3 years since our entry in this industry, we have produced the best results consecutively. Even this year we are expecting around 25 to 30 NLS selections, all from the general category. We are not accounting for all the uh, category ranks in our analysis or in our predictions this year, but we are definitely expecting the best results again for NLTI in this year's NLSAT. So these are the details of our NLSAT plus DU LLB 2026 combo. In last year, we had 6 out of top 10 ranks. You can see this brochure. We had All India rank 1, Meher 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, all in top 10 of NLSAT 2024 results. So we had around 6 out of top 10 in 6 out of top 10 in NLSAT 2024. So if you are someone who's starting their preparation for NLSAT 2026, you can definitely reach out to us. You can visit our website clartnlti.com. The link is also in the description box, and you can also contact our sales team. The number is provided. Feel free to reach out to us on Telegram. Don't forget to join our Telegram channel. And again, if you have any doubts, join our Telegram channel where we have a very active team, and also you can drop in your comments or your doubts in the comment section. So thank you so much for joining in. We hope you found this session useful.